So the next three movements are abdominal movements. They're foundation movements for Pilates, so from where we build upon. The first movement is essentially going to be working the muscle that fixes into the breastbone and runs straight down the front of the body and fixes into the pubic bone. So when you're doing the movement, think about shortening that muscle, and we're tightening it, hopefully with the result eventually of getting a flatter abdominal area. So I'm going to ask Miriam to make sure that she's in neutral, which she is. So let's make sure we've got the air pocket in the centre small of her back. The backs of the shoulders on the floor, the rib cage on the floor. She's resting on the sacrum, which is that flat bit of bone at the base of the spine. The feet and the knees are at hip bone distance apart. And her eye line is looking at the ceiling in front of her. So then from here, I'm going to ask Miriam to turn the palms of the hands downwards and bring them in a little bit closer towards the body. And then just lengthen down through those hands a little, and that will help you just to keep the shoulders in a good postural position, but then relax them. This exercise involves lifting the head and the arms. If you do not want to lift the head, if you have a neck condition, then you can do the rest of the movement without lifting the head. But we're going to start with that little head movement first of all. So it's important that for this movement we keep neutral so that you don't let your back collapse into the mat. So I'm going to ask you, Miriam, to begin by having a little breath in. As you breathe out, gently tuck the chin down a little, lift the head away from the floor so you're looking down the front of the body towards the tops of the legs, and then roll back down. The neck comes down and the head last of all. So we'll do that a couple more times. So have a breath in. As you breathe out, gently tuck the chin, lift the head away from the floor, and then just breathe in, starting with the base of the neck, working up through the top of the neck, and the head goes down. So we'll do that one more time. So a little breath in. As you breathe out, gently tuck the chin, lift the head, so the core muscles will be engaged, and then roll the head back down. So now we're just going to do the arms in isolation. So I'm going to ask Miriam to have a little breath in. As you breathe out, hover both arms away from the floor, about 4 inches off the floor. Lengthen the arms towards the feet. Hold that movement for a breath in. And then as you breathe out, you relax the arms back to the floor. So in a moment, we're going to put everything together. So we'll just do that one more time. So you're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, hover the arms. Lengthen the arms, and you'll feel the abdominals connecting around the top of the rib cage, and then bring the arms back to the floor. And Miriam is keeping neutral as she does this. So now we're going to do the arm and the head movement together. So we're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, hover both arms, lengthen them, tuck the chin, lift the head. So we're going to keep neutral spine and the very tips of the shoulder blades in contact with the floor, and then gently roll the head and the neck back down and relax the arms to the floor. So the rest of the body is staying still. So we're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, hover both arms, lengthen them, tuck the chin, lift the head. So we're tightening the muscle that runs down the centre of the body, and then slowly roll back down. Lovely. So we'll just do one more like that, and then we're going to move it on a little bit. So again, take a breath in. As you breathe out, hover the arms, lengthen them so the core muscles are engaged, and then slowly roll back down. So if you want to here, just gently roll the head a couple of times from side to side, just to make sure that there's no tension in the neck and the shoulders. And then we're going to move this on if you want to. So we're just going to add one leg off the floor to load the body with a little bit more work for this movement. So Miriam, if you bring your right leg up into this position is called tabletop. So the leg is like a tabletop. The knee is directly above the hip bone, and the foot is at the same height as the knee. The rest of the body hasn't changed, so we're still in neutral. So we're going to do exactly the same arm and head movement, but we're going to keep the legs still. So the core muscles have just got a little bit more loading of this leg to deal with, so a little bit more strengthening work for the core. So we're going to start by taking a breath in. As you breathe out, hover both arms, lengthen them, tuck the chin, lift the head, so we're still keeping neutral, and then gently roll back down, arms to the floor. Pop the foot back onto the floor and we'll change sides. So left leg to tabletop. So we're trying to make sure that we've still got a level pelvis, and because we've lifted this leg, we're not suddenly tilting to one side. So we want to keep the body weight even across both sides of the body. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, hover both arms, lengthen them. Tuck the chin, lift the head. So we're keeping neutral, the tips of the shoulder blades on the floor, and then gently roll the head down, arms to the floor, and the foot back onto the floor. So you might want to do a couple of those on each side. What we're going to do next is we're going to progress this movement further to something called toe taps, where both legs are away from the floor. So it's really important that if you have a bad back, it's probably not a good thing to do. So I would ask you to stay with just the one leg position that we did previously until your back has gained some strength. By all means try it, but if it doesn't feel comfortable, then please don't do it. So we're going to start by bringing the right leg up into tabletop again as before. And then when both legs are away from the floor in Pilates initially, we use Imprint because it's a safer position for the back. So I'm going to ask Mirren to engage the deep abdominals in the pelvic floor, tilt the pelvis backwards, so we're imprinting the back, and then we're going to bring the left leg up to join it. So this position here is a challenge in itself for the body. We need to make sure that we keep the neck and the shoulders relaxed and the arms relaxed so that these aren't doing the work, that we actually want the core muscles to do the work. The idea here, the challenge here for the body, is to keep the back imprinted whilst we move a leg forward. As the leg goes forward, what the pelvis wants to do is to tilt forward, but we're going to keep the pelvis level by engaging the deep abdominal muscles. So I'm just going to start Mirren off by taking a breath in. As you breathe out, tap the right foot about halfway towards the floor, keeping imprint, using the deep abdominals, and then bring the leg back up. So as you breathe out, tap the left foot about halfway towards the floor, keep drawing the abdominals down, and then bring that leg back up. So if you're okay to, tap the foot all the way to the floor, keeping the abdominals drawn down, and then breathe in to bring the leg back up. So we're breathing out to tap the toe and breathing in to bring it back up. So keep that going. So using your breath out to tap the toe, because the breath out is going to automatically help you to engage the core muscles. If you find it really incredibly difficult to work in Imprint continuously, you can have the tiniest air pocket, but it's really important that your back feels comfortable when you're doing it. If it doesn't, then please don't do this movement, or keep the taps to where you just come halfway. Keep that going, Mirren. So Mirren is actually working quite hard here, although she's not showing it. So we're going to do another one of these on each side, finishing on the left. So you're breathing out to tap the toe, keeping the abdominals drawn down, and breathing in to bring the leg back. So breathing out to tap and breathing in to bring that leg back up. You can do about 10 or 12 of these on each side if it's comfortable. Bring the knees in towards the chest to release into the lower back once you've done those. And just take a few nice long breaths in and out. Thank you very much, Mirren. Well done.